Oh, hey. So Brian here. Well, here's where I am. I'm on Vine Street, and you can see right behind me here is the Capitol Records building. Capitol Records building. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about that building, the building across the street. Since 2002, it's been called the Avalon. For the last 20 years, it's been called the Avalon. Um, it's important today, specifically today, for a piece of not only Hollywood history, but for a piece of political history, which is what happened today, actually, about it. Um, well, here goes. Here's the Reader's Digest version. Uh, NBC owned this. Now, they did a number of TV shows here and things like that. NBC actually had a studio down the street, but NBC owned this at the time, and it was 1952. It was 7 years ago today. And NBC owned this. And they had better lighting here than they did down at the studio down there. So Richard Nixon was embroiled in some trouble. Richard Nixon was running for vice president with Eisenhower. And the story went that he was accused of using money that was donated to his campaign fund for personal interest, for personal use, things like that. And he decided he was going to confront the issue straight on. And so here, tonight, he had this, he gave a speech tonight. And they call it the Checkers speech. Today's Checkers speech day. Now, the reason why they call it Checkers speech day was during the course of this, he talked about how the fact that none of this is true and all this other stuff. But then he mentioned, but my daughter did get a dog, and the dog was, I believe it was a Cocker Spaniel, if I'm not mistaken. And she called him Checkers. And we're going to keep the dog. We're not going to give the dog back. And it actually, for about 37 seconds, it made people really like Richard Nixon, considering what happened later on in his life. But this is it. This is where the famous Checkers speech came from. Now, and it happened right here. But again, they did it here because it just had better lighting, which is just kind of cool. So there you go. Okay. So for all the rest of you now, here's the deal. Here's how this thing goes. This is called the Avalon now. It was built in 1927. It was built in 1927. It was called the Hollywood Playhouse. And it's gone through a number of different changes, different name changes, things like that over time. I got to push the button here across the street. It's gone through a number of different changes name-wise over time. It was for a time they did the Jerry Lewis Theater. They had a summer show that Jerry Lewis did here. They called it during the Depression. It was the Federal Theater. The WPA did shows that were federally funded here out of here. It was again, it was owned by NBC. It's where they did things like This Is Your Life, Truth or Consequences. Lawrence Welk was filmed here a number of times. Things like that. A lot of different stuff. Now, the architectural style, it's called Spanish Baroque. Now, what you see as we get up closer to it, as I get ready to cross the street here, here we go. So as we get ready to cross the street here, this is designed by a guy named Carl Jules Whale. Carl Jules Whale, actually, he did the set design for the Robin Hood movie. He did a lot of Warner Brothers set designs. He did the Robin Hood movie with Errol Flynn. And this is called Shigaresque architecture you see here. But you see the HP up there. Now that stands for, it was originally called the Hollywood Playhouse. They did the television show Hollywood Palace. It was called the Hollywood Palace for a while. That I remember because Bing Crosby hosted the Hollywood Palace. When Richard Nixon did his speech here, it was called the El Capitan. People get this often confused with the El Capitan down the street. No, this is the El Capitan. Look at this. It was the El Capitan for a short time back then. Again, now it's called the Avalon. It's I've never been in it, unfortunately, because it's been a nightclub and things like that, and I haven't had a chance to go in here for anything. But you see this architecture that Carl Jules Whale did. You'll see this a lot along Hollywood Boulevard, and you can tell his architectural stuff. You'll know it. You'll know it the minute you see it. He also did the second Brown Derby restaurant down here on Vine, and so there's a style that he had, and it included the Shigaresque, and there's the Spanish Baroque that he often used, and it was really, really amazing. So I wanted to give you just the other part of the story about this place. And again, now it's a nightclub. It's been a nightclub since 2002, and you can see, look at the size of it. I mean, it's got everything you need for everything you need. But it's a wonderful little place from what I understand. And historically speaking, today is Checkers Day. So enjoy Checkers Day and go pet a dog.